Alright, guys, welcome back to Tomboy Official. We're here recording another excerpt about gender. So, today I wanted to talk about androgyny and also kind of like culture, race, different sort of related topics. So, this isn't my own topic, I just want to expand a bit on it because Jade Fox was where I initially heard this, and it's really true. I mean, she was speaking a lot of truth there. So Jade Fox is buddies with Arrows, and Arrows is a trans I don't know if they identify as non-binary or gender non-conforming or what, but I know they identify as trans. And so Arrows and Jade Fox for a while were recording a series called Super Time, and I'd recommend you guys check that out. It's really cool stuff. And then Jade Fox recently had a recording on her YouTube channel. It's a video about androgyny, about androgynous people. And in the video, they talk about the concept of androgyny, different terms that you hear, such as words like stud, different, that came from like minority cultures, like Latino, African American, Black cultures. Also terms, well, just basically physical presentation, and body image and body size, saying that when you see and search androgyny, you often see, Caucasian people with pretty pale skin and very thin, skinny model types, that, they're usually feminine features with their own physical selves, with like maybe no curves, with a flat chest, with a short haircut, usually presenting more on the masculine end, but as in their clothing, but then their body, other than having no curves, usually looks kind of more effeminate, not very muscular, things like that. And so I really like that Jay brought this up because I mean, I don't think it's not important to focus on the race and ethnicity pieces, because I do think that's very valid, that, there are, people who are now taking terms like stud and, like Jade was mentioning, like, okay, you see like some Caucasian females shopping for like FUBU and whatever and like calling themselves studs. And it's like, I mean, the interesting thing is, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm not here to like knock anything or judge anybody about what their choices are. Terms tend to evolve. Language tends to evolve. American Western culture, when it comes to language, oftentimes there are a lot of terminology and words and phrases that come from Black people, that come from African Americans, that come from Latinos. You see a lot of terms from these cultures being used in pop culture, in media, and that moves forward to, spread out towards the rest of the world, that, people don't really see it as like a Black thing or a Latino thing, or, they just see it as, oh, I'm queer, oh, I'm gay, oh, I'm gender queer, I should be able to use this term. But then on the flip side of that, you don't really see the representation of the people who all of this, is evolving from. So oftentimes when you look at cultural things such as music styles, dance styles, club styles, phrases that you see people saying and using, like, queer spaces, people say different kinds of terms. They might act a little, like culturally different. I'm not saying like people act gay or they act like, that's not what I mean. I'm just trying to say that, people sometimes, it's kind of part of their culture, their mannerisms, the accent, the language, the words you use, the kind of way you speak, the way you hold yourself and present yourself in the public eye. A lot of these things come from minority people. And then when you go and search for things like androgynous or androgyny or whatever the words may be, you often see Caucasian people that don't represent the other people who were the main ones kind of starting a lot of these trends, starting a lot of this awareness, starting a lot of these things. So, I mean, it's not necessarily that it's bad that maybe there are white people out there that are, saying certain words, calling themselves certain words, shopping for certain brands of clothing. It's for everybody, right? There's nothing that's like, oh, this is for a black person, or if this is in Spanish, it's for Latinos. That's not really how it works. Everybody kind of intermeshes and intertwines, and that can be a beautiful thing. I think it's awesome when people, when I see people embracing black culture. Something I've seen a lot more recently. I mean, I'm not saying that black people invented roller skating, because I don't know, but roller skating rings, and black, like dancing on roller skates and things like that, that is a big black cultural thing that has come back during the pandemic. We've seen that return into our American society, and it's kind of interesting that we've seen it come back, and it's all over the place. But it was very much a black cultural thing. Same thing with things like breakdancing. They came from, like Brazilian capoeira, from like um the martial art, and then it was adapted into, like, it already they use like music and rhythm and drums and beats, and it's a martial art style with a dance form too, and maybe a spiritual practice too, depending how people practice. But you saw like way back in the 70s, 80s, well, more so in the 80s, like breakdancing kind of came out from that. And then, so it's not is but in America, it became like a black American thing, inner city thing. And then you see people all over the place, same with rap music, and so a lot of these things, yeah, we can say it came from black American culture, but then if you go even further back, there were other cultures that were doing these things before the black Americans were doing it too. I mean, it all kind of comes full circle. But I mean, I'm not trying to, like, say anything against what Jade Fox said, or saying, like, I'm just kind of talking on the fly here. I didn't even think this through. I just found it really interesting, because during my lunch break I saw that video and I was like, this is so cool, because people don't really talk about that. And one of the points that I really liked that Jade brought up, like, for sure, was the aspect of, well, two things. First, the aspect of gender. So when we talk about androgyny, we often talk about someone looking more masculine, right? You don't really see a lot of more feminine representation of androgynous, like males wearing dresses or men wearing, you see it around, but it's not really what, when you search it, when you Google it, you don't really see that as androgynous. You don't really see it represented as androgynous. You see more of, like I mentioned at the very beginning, like the females that look kind of like with the chiseled jaws and the short haircuts and the white face and the pale skin and the skinny with the bones sticking out and stuff. You don't see curvy women or curvy men, like curvy men in dresses, or curvy women, in, whatever they're wearing, like a suit and a tie or something. Jade Fox also mentioned, when you see like plus size Women, you often see them in like a bathing suit or a swimming suit, like accentuating like those certain areas, of their curves, like sexual areas and things like that. Versus, you don't really see that too much with yeah, you don't really see it too much, honestly, with some other different groups of people. Yeah, you don't really see it too much. And so these things, I mean, they're very important to take into account and to take into mind, because I mean, like, it's just good to expand our minds on different things of what we see. We're often online nowadays, especially because of the pandemic. We're online probably more than ever before. And I think it's challenging to try and at least challenge our own selves and our own ideas about gender. When, it's easy to Google something, but you have to take into account there's an algorithm. You have to take into account this is what it thinks you want to see. This is what other people are looking for. This is what other people have been searching for. So there is a lot of majority culture, aspects of, Google searching something. When you Google search something, especially for images or for social media and things like that, that information that pops up for you is going to be different. It's going to be different for me versus different for the person who lives next door to me versus the person who lives across the border from me in Mexico. We can Google the same exact thing and different stuff is going to come up. And so that's another thing to take into account. Like, what we see when we Google something, what we see when we search online, that is not 100% real and accurate. We think it is because, oh, I searched it and this is the information, but we rarely will go outside of that, right? We will rarely go outside of what we've searched and expand more, just like Ari Fitz, just like Jade Fox was saying. When say you open that Google search and you see, the ruby roses and all those types of like skinny people, and then you're like, wait, but I'm a Latino man and I'm androgynous, and I, maybe I'm bigger, plus size, I have some curves, and you're not going to really relate to that ruby rose. And so, I mean, maybe you will, but it's like, say if you're looking for like androgynous fashion or something and you're a male, you're likely going to find a lot of masculine looking females. And so those two things, like with the gender and the the body, body image, body, what's it called? Is it called body image? Like kind of body size, body shape rather. When you see all these things with like the body shape and the body size, like, it's not bad, guys. It's not bad. But it's good to challenge. It's good to challenge all of these things, really. I would say another piece that I find very interesting is the cultural kind of double standard. And when Jade Fox mentioned about, the more masculine looking side of androgyny being more shown to the public, that kind of made me really think, okay, so, masculinity, or the patriarchal side of society, masculinity, things like that, they're very much celebrated. There is a there's a privilege that comes with being male, being masculine. A lot of masculine traits are seen as more worthy or more important than feminine traits. men in general, a lot of times for a lot of services that somebody might want to search for, if you're looking for like products that were created by somebody or products that you're trying to buy or something along those lines, you're looking for these kinds of things. It seems like it is hard for people to get. Now it's not impossible, I'm not here to like complain or make some huge like complaint or problematic statements or some giant like issue that I'm speaking on. I'm not talking on like some really weird big negative situation, but I'm mostly just speaking about that, these are kind of the realities of things that we see. And, as a female myself that is more, androgynous towards the masculine presenting, and I'm not super thin anymore. I used to be. I'm not anymore. Over the years into my 30s, I've developed curves and things, and it's kind of interesting for me because I don't really like them, especially because I didn't always have them. I specifically remember, this is kind of more on the personal end, that I do remember thinking like, man, I don't want to grow up and get a period. I don't want to grow up and get boobs and have to wear like a bra, and like, I don't want to have a waist and like a figure, and I like looking like that skinny little boy kind of Mowgli kind of look. That was kind of ideal for me as a kid, as a teen. But like through college, through grad school, I kind of I'm not even half as athletic as I used to be when I was younger, and I've developed fat and I've grown in different areas, and that's fine. But I've noticed too, like when I wear my chinos or when I wear my cargos or when I wear my button ups or whatever, it doesn't really fit the same. It doesn't feel the way I want it to feel. And so, I have been working out more often and trying to get back into a shape. I'm not trying to get rid of all curves. I don't think that's going to be possible. But, there are some in some areas. I know, people talk a lot about like belly fat and stuff like that. But I'm not even so concerned with the belly fat as I am with the, with the breasts and the thighs and the hips and the butt and the, that kind of stuff is like, dude, like, it kind of messes up my look for me. And, like I was saying in another clip before, it's like I used to get misgendered all the time and I don't anymore. And part of me kind of misses that. So, yeah, I hope this is interesting. I don't know, guys. Like, this is just a short one. I'm about to go in the house and work out some and then eat some dinner. But I just wanted to make a short recording, just to put this out there because I know I'm not the only one struggling, guys, and we don't have to struggle too hard. We don't have to struggle, but sometimes it is a struggle. It can be really hard to find people that you kind of mesh with and who understand where you're coming from. This recording wasn't to like bash white people or bash lesbians who like to call themselves studs or whatever it may be. Like, I'm not here to tell people what to do, what not to do. It's just, Jade Fox mentioned something that had maybe never come to my mind in full force like it did when I was listening to her video, and I just think it was a good talking point, a good conversation to open, just to think about. And like I said, like a lot of things, even in Latino culture, even in Black culture, African American culture, a lot of times, it that wasn't exactly the root of where it started either. There was some other area that it was taken from as well. And so I'm not really here to say, oh, like it all roots back to the Black people or whatever, because like I mentioned, like with capoeira, like that, like came from another country altogether. And so things like that, where it's just like yeah, it's just good to think about. I think not in a way to judge people or to be like, oh, like these people are doing this, and like little do they know, like it's good to think about just to expand the mind. Really, it's good to think about because we have all these automatic things bombarding us, and it's good to have a non-automatic approach to our automatic world. That's really what I think. It's a lot more helpful. I mean, the brain wants to make things as automatic and easy as possible. The brain stereotypes. The brain does this all the time. And it's easy because we process faster and it's a lot less stressful. But I think the mind expands more and you learn more and you grow more when you think things through from multiple sides and multiple perspectives. And I think a lot of times when we're talking about things like androgyny and gender, I labeled this podcast Tomboy Official, when we're talking about these kind of like, not even like necessarily issues, but topics, situations, things that happen that come up for people like us and not for people who aren't like us. And so I'm not saying that people who aren't, androgynous to some extent or have like some sort of gender related difference can't listen to this podcast, because everybody's totally welcome. But, I'm just assuming based on the analytics that a lot of the people are, it tells me who's listening. So, yeah, just to put that out there that, it's kind of funny too. Okay, this is going to be something really funny, guys. So, with the analytics with the podcast, it says the gender of people. And I kind of wonder, I'm like, okay, the gender that it mentions, is this, is it like trans people? Non-binary people? Like, I just found it interesting because it's like, okay, this is a kind of like not super defined gender podcast channel, and then the analytics break it down by gender, a binary gender. And so it's like, I need more information. That's kind of where I left it. I was like, I see who's listening, I see you out there, but I need more details. So I'm gonna try and find a way to get details on these analytics, because I'm like, I want to be approaching the right population, the right audience. Anyone's welcome. Share with your friends, share with your family. If you think someone needs to hear this, share it. You guys can always, shoot me a message too if you want to. I hardly check my emails, just to let you know, but I mean, I'll eventually check it. But yeah, just a lot of food for thought here. Thanks to Jade Fox. I hope this was really helpful, guys. I hope, I always have fun recording these, and I always do it at the end of my day when I'm right about to go in and unwind and like finish out my day. So I really appreciate you guys listening. Again, I'm not here to like make people feel bad or make people feel weird or upset people or anger them. I'm just here because I want to be here, and I hope you guys want to hear what, is coming out of my mind. Yeah, well, thanks for listening. I really do always appreciate all the listens, even if you only get 1 minute through, because I ramble too much through the intros. I appreciate it more than you could probably know. I know I don't post a lot lately. I've been going through a lot. I've got a whole lot going on, and it's not always in a good way. Usually when you don't hear me on here, it's because I got so much stuff going on that I can't even hardly take 30 minutes to make a 30-minute recording, let alone an hour recording, and then post it and put up the notes and everything. It's like, I have a full-time job, I have other job related stuff on top of that, and it's really just hard to find the time, the energy, the focus. I need to kind of make sure I'm balancing things out. And I don't really get paid for this, and so sometimes that's I gotta go where the money is. So, but yeah, I hope this was helpful. I'm just gonna put something out there. If you guys want to check out something pretty cool, check out Jay Killam, her OnlyFans. So JK Killem. J Killem. Check out her OnlyFans, guys. She's she's looking great on there. If you want to see some non-fully clothed, masculine presenting female who's got some nice muscles going on, check her out. Check her out. Look at her stuff. It's like $10 a month. Also, Jade Fox has a Patreon that is supposed to have like podcasts and things like that on it. I mean, nothing really that I said on here has anything to do with plugging those guys, but I mean, sometimes I like to just share the stuff that I'm into, and that kind of stuff is, pretty cool. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna peace out. I'm gonna fit in a little 30-minute home workout, eat my dinner, and post these. And I got some counseling related stuff I gotta do too, so I'm gonna get on that too. But man, I'm tired. I'm real tired. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.